What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to Friday night's late night agenda. As always, this is your show. Anything you want to talk about, please feel free to put it into the chat and we'll try and get to it if we can. Obviously, I've got a bit of a news roundup to get through as well. A little bit of good news today, and you know I do love sharing some good news, ladies and gentlemen. So, as always, I hope that you're well. I hope that you're looking forward to a nice, I suppose, Halloween weekend, if you want to call it that. I'm really looking forward to the Reds game tomorrow at home. Hopefully another 3 points, albeit it's going to be difficult against West Ham, who are in good form at the minute. We'll go through the predicted 11s. I'll go through my score prediction as well. Just a reminder that yesterday we did have a bit of a chat with Corey from the West Ham Way. That video's up on the channel if you haven't had a chance to look at it yet. But look, I like to start the show by saying hello to everybody in the chat. How are we? What's the update on Fabinho today? Look, everybody, patience. Patience is a virtue. I haven't got it, if I'm being honest with you. So here I am being the hypocrite in chief, talking about it. But look, let's go through Jurgen Klopp's press conference today. We'll get into the transfer gossip. We'll talk about Virgil van Dijk and everything that's the big breaking news stories around Liverpool, folks. As always, really appreciate you being with me. Let me just switch my phone off so I've got no distractions. Right, here's some updates from Jurgen Klopp's press conference today ahead of the West Ham game. Speaking about the availability of Thiago and, of course, of Naby Keita, here's what the gaffer had to say. Both in a good way with rehab. You saw the Thiago incident, needs time to settle. Not exactly sure as nothing is broken. Desperate to make next steps. Same for Naby, just a different injury. So I'm guessing that we're going to have these guys available at least in the squad tomorrow. Now, I don't want to ruin my predicted 11 that I'll go through later on, but I think we may see Thiago starting this one, ladies and gentlemen, but don't take that as a given. Some more news from the press conference today. The gaffer also confirmed that Fabinho has been ruled out until after the international break, meaning he won't be going on international duty with Brazil, but it also means that he won't be available for the Reds games against West Ham, against Atalanta away in the Champions League, and of course that really big game against Manchester City at the Etihad. So unfortunately we won't have Fabinho available for those games, but it is good news that he's not ruled out any longer, because that could have been 4 to 6 weeks, even longer, with a hamstring injury. So look, we'll take any little bit of good news that we can, folks, at this point, because there hasn't been much of it on the injury front for Liverpool with regarding good news. Also, the manager has had a few words to say about Trent Alexander-Arnold, who makes his 100th Premier League appearance for the Reds. This is what he had to say about Trent. He said, great number, interesting journey, super basis as a player in person, used it to make big development. What you see pics from his first game, he was a boy and now he's a man. The difference couldn't be bigger, space for improvement, he'll use. So a bit of a mixed bag there, obviously saying how well Trent has done, because he has done. To have 100 Premier League games already at his age is phenomenal. That's on top of the fact that he's a European Cup winner, he's a Premier League winner, he's a Super Cup winner, he's a Club World Cup winner, and still so young. So look, congratulations to Trent. I'm sure he will start tomorrow, and I'm sure he will make his 100th Premier League appearance for the Reds, which is absolutely phenomenal. But the big news all surrounds the fact that Virgil van Dijk has undergone a successful operation in London today to repair that damaged ACL. No time frame has been given yet, but there was some news coming out from David Maddock earlier on that suggested that we could be looking at maybe 6 months or less here, which does give us some positive vibes around the fact that we may see Virgil van Dijk play again this season. Now, with these type of injuries, it's really important to point out rehab can be a long and arduous process. Often at times with injuries like this, players can pick up other little knocks and strains when they come back. It's not unusual, but you know, we do have a phenomenal sports science and nutrition and fitness team at the club. We would have used the best doctors available, and Big Virg is, as the gaffer says, a little bit different. He's naturally fit and he'll be fighting rare and 100% to get back on the pitch for the Reds as soon as possible. So look, good news from that front today. As good as we can have, I suppose, in this scenario. The worst case was Van Dijk ruled out for a year or more, but it's looking positive. The operation went well, so we're looking at maybe 6 months. So let's keep it. I'm still ruling him out for the season. That's the way I'm looking at it, folks. Any positive news we get later on in the season, if we get Big Virg back maybe for the title run in, that would be fantastic. But when the gaffer's making his plans, he has to be I suppose, pessimistic. He has to plan for the worst case scenario. But it is great news that the operation went well. No complications with it. Big Virg now starts his rehab, and obviously we wish him all the best with that one as well. Want to also start off today's show by saying how sad it was to hear that Nobby Stiles unfortunately passed away. Obviously a winner of the World Cup with England in 1966. So our condolences, of course, do go to Nobby Stiles' family. But look, ladies and gentlemen, what else do you want to talk about tonight? Let me know in the chat. I've got loads of stuff here to go through, but a lot of people saying how long is Fabinho out for? As I said earlier on, it looks like he'll be back after the international break, so 3 games basically he'll miss. Don't rush him back, said Captain Clun. I'm not sure if that's in relation to Van Dijk, Fabinho or Thiago, but I suppose, mate, it applies to all 3 really, doesn't it? VVD is superhuman, said Neil Davies. I love that, mate. Superhuman. Well played. Captain Clun, I also do love those Craig woo emojis, mate. They always make me smile. When is Van Dijk back? Again, there's no absolute number to this one, but you know the vibes are good. David Maddox said, he's kind of reading between the lines of the club statement, he thinks maybe 6 months or maybe even a little bit less, but as everybody will say, we want to make sure that when Virgil is back, he's back at 100%, and the club will take every precaution necessary to make sure that when Virgil van Dijk does come back, it is the right time and he is ready. But as I said, you've seen this time and time again with players that do their ACLs. Sometimes when they come back, they pick up a little knock that might rule them out for a couple of weeks here or there. So, you know, let's just look at it as a bonus if we see Big Virg playing this season. That's the way I'm trying to think about it anyway. Yeah. There you go. The gaffer described him as a quick healer, by the way. Right, loads of transfer talk to get through, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, today. Obviously, most of it around the centre-back situation, but let's see how you're all feeling. Let's go through a few comments first. How long is Thiago out for? Asked Daniel O'Brien. He should be available tomorrow, mate, being honest with you. Again, I don't want to ruin my predicted 11, which I'll go through in a minute or two, but he is in there in my predicted 11. There's a little bit of a spoiler for you, but that doesn't mean that he's going to start, by the way. Of course, this is just guesswork from me. And of our members, if I get the team early tomorrow, as always, I'll let the people in our Discord group know, just like I have for the last 2 games. If you want to become a member of Anfield Agenda FC, that is one good reason why. We do share all the inside knowledge on the channel that we get with our members, because hey, look, they pay $4.99 a month to support us. It's the least we can do. If you want to become a member, hit the join button. You know what to do at this point. The emojis are there, the custom Anfield Agenda logo beside your name, and access to our Discord group as well. When will we see Anfield and the Kopish link up? We've done it a couple of times, buddy. Mr. Omar, or Abduli Omar, excuse me if I mispronounce your name, mate. I didn't intend to. Yeah, we've done some stuff with Kopish before. I like Drifty and Callum and the guys over there, so I don't know. It does seem a while since we've done stuff together, alright, so I'll try and sort that out at some point, buddy. But again, you know me, nothing but love for the guys over at Kopish. Faizan said Pau Torres is in the thumbnail. Oh, indeed he is, sir. Indeed he is. Well spotted. Got a prediction. My predicted team might be right, said the Liverpool fan. Well, look, the last couple of times, as you know, I have given you guys the team news 3 hours beforehand, but only to the people in our Discord group, because it's not the type of information that I'd be spreading on social media really or anything like that, because it's kind of counterproductive if it breaks that early and goes that wide and far. Any news about David Alaba? We'll touch on him, mate, in the transfer section. But look, I'll give you guys the choice. Do you want me to go through my predicted 11 now and score prediction for the game, or would you like to go through the transfer talk first? Let me know in the chat, and I'll do, of course, whatever you guys want to do, because it's your show. Also, if you're new, please do hit the subscribe button, folks. Drop a like on the video. We're edging towards 55.5k. Be lovely to just round that up tonight, wouldn't it? And get a nice roundy number. Man United or Arsenal to get the W? Do you know what? It's a game that screams draw, but I would usually edge for United against Arsenal in these games, thinking that they'd be a bit more streetwise, if that's the right phrase. But under Mikel Arteta, obviously Arsenal are toughening up a little bit. Obviously, addition to the latest addition to their central midfield obviously gives them a little bit more steel in there as well. So yeah, it's a difficult one. It's going to be an enjoyable game, actually. One that I probably will sit back and watch on Sunday. Danny Dog, you're going to get booted over by one of our mods, mate, for spamming. I mean, all you need to do is put it in once and I can see it, buddy. That's one of the things that do get people kicked out of the chat. Right, starting lineup. No problem, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just switch scenes for you then. Are you ready? Here we go. We'll switch over to the Liverpool-West Ham game. As you can see below me, my score prediction for this one is the Reds to win it 2-1. I think it's going to be a difficult game, even without Mikel Antonio, who has been ruled out, by the way, for, I think, 4 to 6 weeks. When I was talking to to the Corey from the West Ham way yesterday. Sorry, I'm just distracted. I have the Wolves game on in the background. Yesterday when I was talking to Corey from the West Ham way, we were unsure about the situation with Mikel Antonio, but of course, as these things always happen, as soon as the stream ends, the news breaks that he has been ruled out. So look, without any further ado, let me take you through my starting 11 and my predicted 11 for the game against West Ham tomorrow. Right, here we go. Right, so as you can see, Alisson in goal, obviously. Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back. As I said earlier on, he will be making his 100th Premier League appearance for the Reds, which is magnificent at such a young age. At left back, obviously, Robbo, no change there. Kostas Simic is working his way back to fitness, but again, Robbo will be starting this one. Now, the interesting decision, of course, is what happens at centre-back. We know Fabinho's ruled out. We know Joel Matip won't be available until probably the Manchester City game at the earliest. So the decision was, do I drop Hendo in there or do I give one of the young guys a chance? And you know what? I think Reece Williams has earned the opportunity to play alongside Joe Gomez in this game. And if worst case scenario happens, we can always drop Hendo back in if needs be. So I've given the nod to Reece Williams to play alongside Joe Gomez. Then we get to the midfield, and this is where it starts to get a bit exciting for me. I think we will see Thiago play tomorrow. I'm hoping it's from the start, but the gaffer, of course, may well choose to introduce him from 70 onwards, or he could go the other way and he could give him 50, 60 minutes and then make the change. So my midfield that I've gone with is Thiago, Hendo on the right of the midfield, and obviously Gini on the other side as well. Maybe a bit of a double pivot from Gini if needs be, but having Thiago in front of that back four as well, it gives us extra protection with the gaffer there as well, or not the gaffer, the captain there as well, Hendo. Obviously he can drop in and help Trent out on the right hand side as well if needs be. And then we get to the front three, and again I've made a decision here that I don't know if people would agree with or disagree with, but I've gone for Diogo Jota on the left hand side. I've switched Sadio Mane over to the right hand side with Mohamed Salah to the centre. Now I couldn't care less if that switched around and Mane through the centre and Salah's on the right, or if they switch around like they did the other day where we seen Jota pop up on the left and then on the right hand side. I think Jota has earned the right to displace Bobby Firmino at this moment in time. You guys know that I'm a massive Bobby Firmino fan, so it's not easy for me to admit that my Bobby Firmino propaganda needs to take a rest. So I think Diogo Jota deserves a start. I would have maybe pushed for Takumi Minamino, but I honestly don't think that his performance in the last game justifies a start in this one. Maybe he come on from the bench, make a bit of a difference. Shaqiri as well, somebody who I did give consideration to with this one, but again, he could be a good impact sub. And look, I'm being honest about this. Divock Origi, for me, I can't see where his Liverpool career is going, ladies and gentlemen. I really can't. I'll never forget the moments. We've all spoken about them, but you can't dine out off those forever. In football, you're only really as good as your last game, and Divock Origi to me is falling further and further down the pecking order at Liverpool. It's just my humble opinion, folks. I understand that people may see it differently, but to me, he's right down there at number 6 or 7 now for our attacking options. But I suppose the big decisions around this game centred in 3 positions. Who plays at centre-back? Who goes in midfield with Thiago, or will Thiago be available? And then, of course, what front three we go with. Difficult decisions for the gaffer because obviously we play Saturday evening, and then, of course, the lads have to travel over to Italy to take on Atalanta on Tuesday. And then we've got the game against Manchester City before we break for the international break. So that's the 11 that I've gone with. Again, moving back to the prediction, I've gone for a 2-1 win to the Reds. I don't think it's going to be easy. West Ham, a bit unpredictable lately, I think it's fair to say. They had a terrible start to the season. They've come back. They've absolutely destroyed Leicester 3-0. They have that mad 3-3 draw with Spurs as well. And then they go and take a point off Manchester City. So I honestly don't know what to expect. But I'm not going to lie to you. It is a bonus for us that Mikel Antonio isn't available. Again, the full preview where we spoke with Corey from the West Ham Way is available if you guys want more West Ham information on this one. Corey gave an interesting take, of course, on the Liverpool players, the Firmino situation. And I'll be going on there for a post-match reaction show tomorrow after the Anfield Agenda reaction show. So that's my 11 anyway, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to switch back over to the normal studio now, but I'd love to know what you guys think. If you're watching this back later on, I'm sure Connor will probably clip this up and put it out. Let me know your predicted 11, let me know your score predictions, and let me know, of course, who from West Ham worries you. The obvious answer would have been Mikel Antonio, but Souček has been looking very good for them as well. Bowen has come through this season, has been performing very, very well. And of course we have Lanzini coming back, getting his form bit by bit, and he scored that fantastic goal as well against Spurs. So A couple of weeks ago, I'd have been going into this game far more confident, but obviously with the centre-back situations at Liverpool right now, and the fact that West Ham are in a good vein of form, I think it's going to be a difficult evening, but I do think we'll prevail. I do think we'll get the 3 points. So that's my 11 anyway. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to switch back over to our regular studio now. Right, there we go. Right, let me get some comments. Antonio's a massive miss for West Ham, said Rob Shepherd. What do I think of Ramos to Liverpool? That could be... Not having a dig at you here, mate, but that could be one of the more ludicrous transfer rumours I've ever heard. Why would we want Ramos? Somebody who's already at the end of his career, and a storied, great career that he has had, albeit obviously we despise him very, very much so for that incident in the Champions League final, and I despise him for many other incidents as well, but no, mate, that's just not going to happen. Sarah Marshall, thank you for the super chat. If we buy Koulibaly or a different centre-back, do we sell Matip, Sepp van den Berg or one of the younger players to fund it? I'll deal with the first part of that first, Sarah. There's no way we're going to sign Koulibaly. But you did follow that up by saying, or somebody else. No, is the answer to the younger players. The Joel Matip one is interesting, though, because there's no denying that he's ageing. There's no denying that he picks up some knocks. He did show loyalty to us by signing a new deal as well when he could have ran down his deal and left. But look, football's a ruthless business, Sarah, and I don't think we'll be moving anybody on in January. Sure, we can't afford to lose anybody from the centre-back situation in January. But at the end of the season, maybe the likes of Matip could be looked at again to move on. But again, a lot will depend on what we do. But if we don't bring in a centre-back in January, we will most certainly be bringing one in at the end of the season. So I hope it's not one of the kids that has to fund it, Sarah. We did see something similar, obviously, when we brought Diogo Jota in. We sold Ryan Brewster, and that helped towards that deal. But yeah, Matip is the obvious one. If we were to move one on, you would imagine. What else have we got? Hi Craig, not sure if you remember me from the South African Zoom call, but keep up the great work and 3-1 to the Reds. I do, Niraj, I absolutely do remember you. It's a very distinctive name for me. Obviously, I'm not sure how common it is in South Africa, but I certainly do remember you, mate, and thank you for inviting me on that Zoom call. It was a pleasure. And you're going for a 3-1 win. I'll take it. As I always say in these things, I'd rather a 1-0 win to us than the 2-1, because I like the idea of us keeping a clean sheet. And of course, you went with a 3-1, buddy. I'd rather a 2-0 there as well. She says Thiago won't start. Absolutely, quite possibly, mate. And I could well be being very optimistic here, but it could go one of two ways. As you said, maybe Thiago won't start. Maybe we'll see James Milner in there with Jordan Henderson and Gini Wijnaldum. Maybe we'll get a surprise and we'll see Naby Keita in there. You never know, but you know, call me an optimistic buddy. I'm hoping that he starts this game. Maybe it's just because I'm a little bit excited about the thoughts of actually getting to see Thiago properly in our midfield. But I understand where you're coming from. He could come on later on. He may well not even be in the matchday squad tomorrow. But allow me to dream for a minute, pal. Allow me to be positive. Somebody says Alaba even good anymore. I'll get to all of that, buddy. We'll go through the full transfer section in a couple of minutes. I do have a long list there to go through. All the centre-back options that Liverpool are currently looking at. I'll go through them. I'll detail what my pros and cons are of each one and how likely I think they are. So just give me a couple of minutes and I promise you I'll go through all of them. Close game, but a 4-3 win to Liverpool, said Rob Salmon. That would be a very entertaining evening for us, mate. And probably a very worrying one as well. If Lovren didn't leave, would he do at centre-back? Of course. The gaffer would have no problem with giving Dejan Lovren a run if he had still been here, mate. But yeah, look, it's there you go. David Alaba is on the paper. Again, I will talk about it, mate. Don't worry about it. I've got David Alaba in the list of potential additions. We'll go through it in a couple of minutes. Dave Smith's going 2-0 to the Reds. Very close, but Alisson to pull off some great saves. Dunnick get in, you'll have a walk alone, simple as that. I like it, well played. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we've got loads of interesting stuff coming up. If you haven't joined the Anfield Agenda Flick chat group, you probably see the download Flick blue logo in the bottom corner of the screen there. If you don't know what Flick is, it's an app that we use to basically interact with you guys when we're offline. We put up polls. There's one up on the Flick chat app at the minute asking you guys who you would like to partner Joe Gomez this weekend. We also do our man of the match polls and stuff on Flick as well. So if you haven't yet, please do download the Flick chat app. It is absolutely free to download. It's free to use. It's available whether you're on Android or whether you're on iOS. So download it from your app store or from the link in the description and join the Anfield Agenda Flick Chat group for updates, fantasy football talk, polls, stuff like that, man of the match votes, and loads of other stuff as well. Owen Farrelly, how are you, my friend? Thank you for the super chat. Why is everybody saying, where's Firmino? The man has been fishing like Stevie Wonder for 18 months. About time he gets dropped, plus Jota deserves it. I hate to use the word dropped, buddy, but I do agree with you that Jota has earned this opportunity. That's the reason why I've swallowed my pride and given Bobby a rest for this one and picked Jota. But I do like that people are asking where Bobby is as well, because for the fact that Bobby hasn't scored goals regularly enough for us in recent times, again, we can't forget about all the other good stuff that Bobby does do. As Brian likes to say, Bobby is the system. But nobody is infallible, and if you make a mistake or you aren't up to scratch, that's why you bring in players like Diogo Jota, Takumi Minamino, to put pressure on the front three. And if you're not performing, the next man behind you may well take his opportunity. And for me, and I think for yourself, Jota deserves that chance. John Conway, thank you, buddy, for the super chat. John's going for a 3-1 win to the Reds. Thoughts on the new training ground, said Cube. Yeah, we covered this the other night a little bit, buddy. The news was brought that Liverpool will be in November moving from Melwood to that new training facility in Kirby. We've been wondering when it was going to be finished. Well, next month seems to be the answer. Obviously, Liverpool sold Melwood for around, I think, 10 or 11 million pounds to a property developer. But there was a clause in that contract allowing for Liverpool to extend their stay at Melwood if anything unforeseen came up that delayed the move to Kirby. And obviously, that has happened. But it will be great for the guys to finally get to that fantastic new £50 million training facility there. And if you've seen the images of it, it's stunning. It really is. It's fair play to FSG, fair play to Kloppo, who was the brainchild of this as well. And yeah, it's just great. It's just the club moving in the right direction again. Could Reece be the next Trent? Could well be. I mean, it's mad because how quickly a youngster's future can change really does blow my mind at times. So if we look at the summer and we look at the situation of the centre-backs, the up-and-coming young centre-backs, it was all Billy Comedio. He was the one that was getting extra sessions. He was the one that was getting one-on-one with Kloppo. And then he picked up a little knock. And then Reece Williams gets his opportunity and did not put a foot wrong. I've been very impressed with Reece Williams. I've been looking at his aerial stats as well, and he's doing quite well in his aerial duels. And somebody who's come from playing non-league football to now appearing in the Champions League group stages for Liverpool and still only 19 years of age. So Reece could be whatever, but you don't want to put pressure on him. You know, I hate labelling anybody the next, but I know you mean it in a complimentary way. So let's hope. Let's hope. And again, I'd like to see him given a chance tomorrow, particularly now that we know Mikel Antonio isn't going to be available, because he can bully the best of the fences, to be fair. What else we got? Chris Barham said, I miss Dejan. Well, I think I do. I don't. I'm not going to lie to you. I miss Dejan maybe as a person, because he always had a smile on his face, but I don't miss worrying when he was in possession at times what he may do next. And look, he seems to have settled in very well at Zenit, and of course we wish him all the best over there. What about Vandenberg? I think the plan would have been to loan out Sepp Vandenberg from what I remember, mate, in the summer, but that didn't come to fruition. Still time for Sepp, of course, only I think 18 years of age. There's no rush. There's no need to rush through. Just because Sepp isn't at the top of the list now doesn't mean that he may not be in a couple of months. I mean, things move quickly in football, and who would have thought in the summer we'd be sitting here talking about Reece Williams perhaps partnering Joe Gomez at home against West Ham in the Premier League. So again, we'll just have to wait and see how it pans out. Williams looks great, said CJR, and I agree, he does. He hasn't put a foot wrong. I mean, he's done nothing spectacular, but nothing wrong. And at this level, at this stage, steady is good enough for me right now. Sorry I'm not a member anymore. Ronna got my work. I don't know what that means, but you never have to apologise for not being a member. Chris, you being here with us, buddy, is great. Obviously, membership, super chats, all that stuff is brilliant, but most important to us is that everybody is able to watch and contribute to the content that we make, which is why none of our content is behind a paywall, and none of our YouTube content will ever be behind the paywall, mate. We don't want to have financial barriers for people to not be able to interact with us, so please don't apologise, Chris, but again, thank you for your generosity, mate, with another super chat. Billy the Kid also back in training, said Captain Clun. Indeed he is, my friend. But look, let's get off to a couple of other things actually before I finish. The referee will be Kevin Friend for tomorrow night's game. Kick off at Anfield at 5:30. I should have mentioned that in my preview. But look, let's get to the real sexy stuff, the transfer talk. And I've gone through websites, newspapers and stuff today, trying to round up the latest. I've reached out to a few people over a couple of players as well, and gotten a little bit of information back. Let's start with the one that you guys have been asking me about a lot recently, and that's Ezequiel Garay. I think the Argentinian gentleman that used to play for Valencia. So I've looked at this from a couple of different reasons, and or a couple of different angles, I should say, and allow me to go through my thoughts on why he wouldn't be a good option for Liverpool. So it doesn't really make any sense to me, and for a couple of reasons. Firstly, there's the fact that he and Valencia agreed to terminate his contract back in February because he picked up an injury that was going to rule him out for around 6 months. So they came to a decision between them both to just knock that on the head. Now, obviously, he's probably back to fitness at this point, but after suffering another injury, a knee injury, I don't know if it's the right move. Then there's consideration that we'll take another overseas player spot from our group, from the players that we have. It might sound like a small little oversight, but that's right, a very important thing. If we were to bring him in now, who loses out? What non-overseas player loses out for him to take a spot? So that has to be under consideration as well, particularly if he's somebody that's only coming in as a bit of a sticking plaster because he's available on a free. You obviously have to talk about his wages as well. I've no idea what they are or what he'd want us to sign an on-free. But on top of all of that stuff, whether we talk about the knee injury, whether we talk about his time at Valencia, the fact that he's a free agent, his wages, signed an on-free, there's still the fact that I don't think he's good enough to come in and play for Liverpool at this moment in time. So for me, the Ezequiel Garay stuff, I would knock it on the head. I don't see it being a realistic option. I think it was just maybe people looking at who's available on a free and coming up with that name. So for me, it will be a no. The next one is somebody that does excite me and somebody who I hope Liverpool go in for, but the source of this doesn't really make me that optimistic, and that is Jules Koundé of Sevilla. Now, this story, that from what I've seen, originated from 90min.com, and I don't hold much faith in that site, if I'm being honest with you. It would be a site that I would have in my lower tier of transfer gossip and talks. No reasoning, I have no grudge against them, but everybody has sites that they favour for news and don't, and that will be one of the ones for me that I wouldn't really take too seriously. I've absolutely no doubts about Koundé as a player, and I've no doubts that Liverpool will have been tracking him and watching him, as were Manchester City when they were looking for a centre back over the summer. He really impressed me in the run-in in the Europa League as well, when obviously Sevilla went and won that competition again. Koundé looked like an absolutely fantastic player, and one that I would like Liverpool to sign. I'd have no issues with Liverpool going out and doing it. It's just that the source of this rumour is what's holding me back at the minute, and I haven't had a chance to really find out if there's any truth to it, if Liverpool are really interested in Koundé or not. Of course, we'll be tracking him. I've no doubt about that. The amount of players the football clubs these days will be tracking for a very long periods of time. You'd be astonished if Koundé wouldn't be on a list that they've at least addressed. Then there's some other options. There's 3 or 4 other options that we haven't spoken about. And the one that somebody noticed on the thumbnail earlier on is one that excites me a lot, and one that I do hope there is some truth to, and that's Valencia's Pau Torres. Another great option for me. He's in the right age bracket. I think he's about 23 years of age. I think he stands 6'3", something like that in height. So again, right in the pocket there that you'd want. Usually with centre backs in the Premier League, minimum 6 foot. Anything up then is just an added bonus on top of that. So I looked into this guy in detail, because it's one thing me looking at Pau Torres playing for Villarreal and saying, yeah, good player, but when you have some statistics there to back up your own thoughts, that does help. And his physical size and frame, that's a bonus to me as well. He's a ball playing centre back. His passing statistics are very good. He's not somebody that tends to dive in and tackles. He's somebody who reads the game quite well. I think he would suit our high line, albeit he isn't the fastest defender by any stretch of the imagination. But like most of the top level defenders, he's available and he's able to read and he's able to intercept and he's able to... I think he's clever enough to play the high line system that we do. And again, he's got a great range of passing, whether it be long or short. Again, his statistics for that add up very well. I think it was in the early 90s for his passing accuracy statistics. Not that, again, I'm not somebody for statistics really, but when I'm not sure on a player or I'm doubting myself, I do tend to look at these things. Is there anything else on Pau Torres? I've no idea, by the way, what type of money we'd be talking about here, because he only really broke in to Villarreal's first team recently enough. He had a loan at Malaga, I think it was, at one point as well. Helped them, I think, in their push for promotion, and then came back to Villarreal and has established himself now as a first choice. So I think I like the idea of Pau Torres, but again, I've no idea how true these links are. But he is starting to be mentioned as one of the ones that we're looking at, and I'm glad that he is an option and somebody who I forgot about really until I start looking into the situation a bit more. Then, of course, we have Leipzig's Dayot Upamecano, and it seems to be a straight shootout between us and Manchester United for Upamecano. We've seen skulls in the media talking about he's exactly the type of centre back that Manchester United should be going for. Some Liverpool fans said to me the other night after United gave Leipzig a bit of a hiding in the Champions League, we can forget about him. To me, that's silly, ruling a player out because of one result for one team. We got beaten 7-2 by Villa. That doesn't mean that Virgil van Dijk or the players that we have playing in that game aren't good enough. It's just one of those things. It was a bad night at the office for Leipzig. We know Upamecano has a release clause that kicks in next summer for 40 million, but again, as I've always said, it'll be up to whether Michael Edwards could perhaps negotiate that deal a little bit earlier, or maybe pay a little bit on top of it to try and get him in January. It's going to be difficult though, because Leipzig, obviously, as I keep saying, will be challenging in whatever European competition. If they don't go far in the Champions League, they'll drop into the Europa, they'll be in the Bundesliga, and it'll be difficult to get him out of there before that clause kicks in. Leipzig will be under no pressure to sell. They know that they can move him on in the summer for the 40 million. So I think we'd have to be inventive on that one. But I know he's a player that a lot of you guys like. I like him as well. And definitely one that I think the club should be considering. And the last one that I want to talk about is a name that keeps getting mentioned with us, and that's Ozan Kabak of Schalke. The more I look into this, the more people I talk to, there doesn't seem to be much belief from the English-based side of this that there's real interest there from Liverpool in Kabak. He may have been somebody we looked at. I spoke before about the spitting incident that's seen him suspended for 5 games. That worries me. It would worry me about not the mentality, that's not the right word, the character of the player. And Jurgen Klopp speaks about this a lot. He wouldn't want to bring in anyone that may unstable the dressing room. And again, looking into Ozan Kabak, I've seen today that AC Milan have been linked with him as well. I don't see Liverpool going for Kabak. I think it was an easy connection to make at the time. Wagner was the manager at Schalke when this link was first made. Obviously, people will put 2 and 2 together and say he's friendly with Klopp. Maybe he got a little nod from Wagner to say that, this guy's quality. And again, I've no doubt Liverpool looked at him. But for me, Upamecano, Pau Torres, or maybe somebody who we haven't been linked to yet. And the ones that we haven't been linked to yet are the ones that excite me, because Jota, no link, just appears. Fabinho, no link, just appears. But I hope that we do business in January, because even with the good news today on Van Dijk and the fact that he could be back around 6 months, and the fact we've got good youngsters coming through, I think we still do need to act in January if possible. But again, I'm going to say that I don't think Jurgen Klopp will settle. If Jurgen Klopp can't get the player he wants in January, but he can get that player in the summer, I think he'll wait. And I think he'll try and find solutions. You always hear the manager talking about trying to find solutions. So look, that's what I have to say on the centre-back search, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go into the chat now, see how you're all feeling about it. As always, super chats are open, super stickers are open, memberships are open. But again, so are the comments. So put it in and we'll see what we can get to. Furlough again, Craig was going to super chat for £20 as a last goodbye, but would rather keep my membership for 4 months. Tommy, mate, having you with us is class. I'm so sorry to hear about your job, mate. I mean, it's a really tough time for a lot of people around the world right now. So I hear you, buddy, and I hope that you get back to work as soon as possible. I mean, thank you for being a member, mate, and everything that you're doing to support the channel, but please don't put yourself under any financial hardships, mate. You're always going to be in the chat and watching, hopefully, and that's more than good enough for us. Ben White would be my pick, said Sarah Marshall. I do love Ben White, Sarah. You know that. I've been speaking about him for a long time. Even when he was at Leeds, I was watching him, and he was very good there. I just don't know if we'd be able to get him out of Brighton in January. It'll be interesting to see where Brighton are in the league, but their manager, Potter, speaks very highly of him. And I did talk about one of the drawbacks from the Liverpool scouting system when they looked at Ben White. One of the statistics that came back was his how do I phrase this? He's 6 foot, so his aerial duels are aren't the greatest. And in the Premier League at times we often see like Sheffield United, for example, big players up there, and how we could have used Joel Matip for that game. And that was one of the things that went against Ben White, was the fact that he was only 6 foot. Now that doesn't rule him out completely, because Ben White, to me, as I've always said, screams a Jurgen Klopp type of centre-back. The fact that he's British-based as well, that would be another plus. I'm sure he'd be very expensive. I spoke to you guys about Darren McAnthony, who's the Peterborough chairman, who was screaming basically for Liverpool to go and spend 30 or 40 million on Ben White in the summer. I agree with Darren McAnthony on that. I think he's a fantastic player. I think that Ben White would be one for next summer. I just don't think you'd get him out of Brighton in January unless you pay absolutely ridiculous money. And again, people are going to be asking about Koulibaly. You know my line on Koulibaly. Liverpool will not be signing Koulibaly now, next summer, the summer after that, or ever. He will not be coming to Liverpool. I think people just need to get over that one. If you're looking at Koulibaly, it would have been before we signed Van Dijk instead of Van Dijk, but we got Van Dijk, and yeah, as good as Koulibaly is, and I will never argue about that. He looks like he's settled at Napoli. He came out and spoke about it and said he's quite happy at Napoli as well. There was even talk of potential new contract there for him. Joel Morris said Adama Traore would be good for Liverpool. I don't know, I'm still not sold on Adama Traore, ladies and gentlemen. I still want to see more from him. Now, he hasn't been used from the start a lot this season. From what I've seen of Wolves, he's been brought on as more of an impact player. Obviously, they're playing right now against Crystal Palace. I don't know on Adama, I really don't. Now, one thing about Adama is that he is part of the Guest a Few agency, which is run by George Mendes. And if you don't know, that's the agent that was involved in the deals that brought Diogo Jota and Fabinho to Liverpool. So there's a good channel of communication there. I just think, again, for the type of money that could be involved, I want to see a better end product from him this season. I want to see him back up what he did last season and even improve on it with Wolves before I'd be comfortable with Liverpool going and dropping that type of money on him. Hello to Genie20 as well. Lovely to see you in, buddy. Connor Cody, that's a name that people keep mentioning as well. I think just leave him be at Wolves. Do you know what I mean? I mean, Connor Cody's he's a good lad. He's rebuilt his career, come back up at Wolves, captain of the football club, and he seems to be settled there. I'd say just leave him there. Just leave him at Wolves where he is. I'm sure he's quite happy. And I don't think there's ever been any serious interest now. He's used to playing in the back three as well, which, although I'm sure he could play elsewhere, that system at Wolves just gets the best out of Connor Cody. Upamecano would be my favourite centre-back, said Niall Shaw. John O'Neill said, hi Craig, I'm a United fan, so am I allowed or will I leave? You're absolutely welcome in, John, mate. All we ask of anybody in the chat is a couple of things. Don't spam, and make sure to treat other people in the chat with respect, and you will get that respect right back, John. So you're very welcome in, my friend. I'd take Connor Cody, said Hex. Don't get me wrong, I'd take him. I just don't think it's a realistic option for a couple of different reasons. Do you think we could last the season without a centre-back? Great show, the Lisbon Reds. Thank you, Gabriel. Ideally, no, mate. I mean, hopefully Fabinho comes back. We could get through with Fabinho if Matip can stay available. Matip, Fabinho, Gomez, and then having the options of some of the youngsters, or even Hendo if needs be. It would be a bit of a stick and plaster job, and we could probably get through it. But ideally, we do want to be going in there and getting a centre back in January, because you know the odds are we were going to sign one next summer. So I think from stories I've read today, it seems to be that Kloppo may have been given the nod to do this in January, to go out there and get the centre back that he wants. Let's just wait and see what happens. I mean, we'll be talking about this till we're blue in the face. New names will be dropped in, I'm sure, as well. But at the end of the day, we have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, I think we will do business in January. But again, I don't think we'll settle. I think the manager will either get the player he wants or he'll hang off. That's just my take on it. Please talk about Alaba. Yes, how dare I forgot Alaba. And I mean that sincerely. I should have talked about David Alaba some more. So regular viewers will remember back in the summer when we were looking at bringing in Thiago, we were talking about David Alaba at the same time because they were both in a similar contractual situation. Both their contracts, Bayern Munich had 1 year to run on them. Obviously, Thiago, the deal was done and he's a Liverpool player. And Alaba kind of went quiet. There was no more talk about it. But now, obviously, with the situation that we're in, David Alaba having, in January, 5-6 months to run on his contract and would be available to sign a pre-contract with any club outside of Germany. The questions around David Alaba are a couple of things really. The wages, I don't know what he'd want. I honestly haven't got a clue. I've seen people throwing around 250, 300 grand. I can't imagine that will be the case at Liverpool, although there are ways around this. So we spoke yesterday about maybe destabilising the dressing room if somebody was to come in on more wages. Well, if it's a free contract or free signing like that, you could bump up his signing on fee and give him less of a base wage spread over the course of his contract to kind of keep the dressing room a little bit happy and not break your wage structure. So there are ways around that. Then you come to look at his record at Bayern Munich. I mean, somebody said to me he played over 40 games a season for them, but I remember some times where he's picked up some knocks as well. But I can see why David Alaba is an attractive proposition for any fan out there, because not only can he play left-sided centre-back, not only can he play at left-back, he can play in midfield, full of experience, played big occasions with Bayern Munich, played big occasions with his national side, with Austria, and I would have no arguments whatsoever about David Alaba, but it wouldn't be a long-term solution. So for me, I would rather we spend the money to get the player we want, the player that we would have been looking at to get for the next 4, 5, 6 years, rather than just going to settle for a very, very good player in David Alaba. I mean, I'm not questioning the man's ability, but I just don't think... I think if this was the summer, first day of the transfer window, I don't think this would be one we'd be screaming for. We'd be talking about Upamecano, we'd be talking about maybe Ben White, Pau Torres, or other centre-backs. I think this would be just because kind of signing. Now, don't rule it out, of course. But that's my take on it. Of course, I want to know what you guys think about David Alaba. I've no questions about his quality. I just think it would be another player... What is he, 29 years of age, something like that? It wouldn't be a very Liverpool signing. I think it's fair to say the Thiago one was a bit of an exception to how we do business, partly because of the contractual situation, partly because of Michael Edwards' brilliance in being able to get that deal for 5 million a season plus a potential 5 million in add-ons, and partly because Thiago was sold on the project of wanting to come to Liverpool, and he is an exceptional footballer, one of the best midfielders in the world. And so that seemed to me like a no-brainer. Although we kept hearing from some sources that there was no real interest, we knew that there was. The David Alaba one, I mean, I'd be happy, I'd take it, but it wouldn't be number one on Klopp's list. If we're being honest with ourselves, we know that Klopp and the recruitment team and the coaches will have a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, and I don't think David Alaba is going to be in the top 3 of that list if money wasn't an object. But of course, money is an object, so we'll have to wait and see. No questions on his ability though, I take him. And again, we speak about versatility a lot. Klopp loves a player that can play in numerous positions for varying reasons, obviously to cover, but also for tactical reasons. Alian said, guys, shall I join the Flick chat? Yes, please do. Link in the description. Absolutely free, mate. Sure, why not? Koulibaly was a beast midweek in the Europa League game against Real Sociedad. I've no questions around Koulibaly's quality. The question is, why go out there and drop 60, 65 million on somebody who is either 29 now or is just about to turn 29? This doesn't make any sense to me, mate. It doesn't make any sense from a business point of view. I'd rather we drop that money on Upamecano, who's 21, or Pau Torres, who was 23, or Ben White, who's, I think, 20, 21, something like that. That to me is more a Liverpool way going about things. Bringing in somebody, improving them through coaching, getting them at the right age bracket, having had some experience already. That's usually the way we do business. But again, nothing is a perfect science in football. Antonio not playing for West Ham tomorrow is good news. It is, and while I never wish injury on a footballer, sometimes you do get a little rub of the green on these things. And yeah, look, if he's not available, and then maybe if Aguero isn't available for Manchester City, these are all things that could help us out. But let's not forget, other clubs will be looking at Liverpool now and looking at our injury list and going, right, could be a good time to play them as well. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Is that a real chair? Yes, it is, mate. It comes from a company called Serendipity Furniture. Again, there's a link in the description of the stream. Furniture, it's a family-run business. They make bespoke, unique leather chairs, and they're fantastic. I cannot speak highly enough about their quality. They can put your family crest on there. They can put your name on there. Mine has the liver bird on it, and it has my surname. But yeah, mate, it absolutely is a real chair, I promise you. Love the channel already, Craig, said John O'Neill. Keep up the fantastic work, mate. Respect right back to you, John. This is a community of football fans. Yes, of course, we're Liverpool fans, buddy, but we all fell in love with the sport. We may have gone to different teams, and as my good mate Mark says, rivals, not enemies, and I think that's the best way of putting it out there. And if you come in and show respect to us, as I promised to John, you'll get it right back. Robbie Love said Alaba and Mbappe after the double this season. There's not one word about that sentence I don't like, mate. Alaba, check. Good enough for me. It'll do if it's worst case scenario with the centre back. Mbappe, please sign me up for that. And the double, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Now, of course, when we're talking doubles, we're talking the big double here, mate, aren't we? Premier League, Champions League, that has to be the double. Just signed up to Anfield Agenda, said Double G or CG Gaming. Welcome, mate. Thank you very much for doing so. What have we got? Ahmed said, David Alaba turned 28 in June 24th. I thought he was 32. If he's 28, I want him. Well, the experience he has, he'll have at least 4 more years of quality. Again, mate, I can understand the appeal. And, you know, if the numbers add up, the club may look at it. If his signing on fee is reasonable, his wages are reasonable, yeah, the club would look at it. I'm not ruling it out as an option. I'm just saying, if you were to just start naming centre-backs around the world who Klopp wanted, I wouldn't say that Alaba would be first, second or third, but every so often a deal like the Thiago deal comes around where the manager might sit up and go, oh, okay, it's the right time in this gentleman's career, everything falls into place, get it done. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm not questioning the guy's ability at all. Would I be disappointed if we got Koulibaly? No, I'd be over the moon if Liverpool signed Koulibaly. The reason that I keep saying Liverpool won't sign Koulibaly is because Liverpool won't sign Koulibaly. It's not because I don't like Koulibaly. I love Koulibaly. He is one of the best centre-backs in the world. And any team that signed Koulibaly would be getting an unbelievable defender. It's just not going to come to Liverpool. And would I be disappointed? No, of course I wouldn't. I'd be over the moon like everybody else. I want what's best for the football club, buddy. Alaba's too small. I think he doesn't even go up for corners. Again, there is that to think about when we're talking about centre-backs. I spoke earlier on about Ben White perhaps being on the lower side of what would be the norm in a Premier League centre-back. But Alaba is different because he's versatile, as we said. He can play in the left, he can play as a midfielder as well. Now, we haven't even spoken about Kostas Tsimikas, who is, of course, coming back to fitness and has played in a back three before on the left side of a back three. Now, we don't play a back three, but I have no idea if the club may look at using Kostas Tsimikas in a more central position, or maybe moving Robbo in for a little bit. We've seen Robbo play at centre-back, I believe, for Scotland. Again, none of this is ideal, but this whole scenario right now isn't ideal. We have to navigate through to January, and hopefully then the club assess. And I do hope that if we do go in the market in January, that it's a deal that we get done right at the beginning of January, and that we're not, going back till the last day of the window to get this one done. So we'll wait and see what happens. But, Fabinho's good news. He'll be back after the international break. We may see Thiago and Keita in the squad tomorrow. I'll go through my starting 11 score predictions again before I finish up the stream. But again, if you're with us tonight for the first time, folks, please do hit that subscribe button. Drop a like on the video as well. We'll be tomorrow going live at 5 p.m. Game kicks off at 5:30. Anfield Agenda Watchalong starts at 5 p.m. We hope to see you for this one. I hope you're in the Flick chat group as well, so you can have your vote for man of the match. Is there anything else I was meant to say? Shout out to our Instagram account as well, at Anfield Agenda. We've passed 25,000 followers on Instagram, and considering we only really started using it properly over the past few months, we're absolutely delighted with that one. We're going to try and do more stuff on our Instagram story and that as well. So again, if you haven't followed us on Instagram, please do so. It's been weird on Instagram lately. I've had a few people messaging me asking me to say record little happy birthday videos to their friends or family members, and if I have time, I'm more than happy and humbled to be asked to do so. But yeah, it's been a weird few days. I mean, there's some stuff going on behind the scenes as well that's extremely exciting potentially, but I don't want to talk about anything until some potential stuff is done and dusted and confirmed. But it could be exciting times ahead for us, folks. I mean, the channel's grown because of your amazing support and because of how fantastic our subscribers are and interacting with other people as well. Yes, it's a good old time, and I'm getting back to myself as well, thankfully. I had a shitty week last week for various different reasons, but I'm coming around. I'm starting to go back to myself now, and I've got a bit of a smile on my face, which, I'm in a good mood when I'm smiling. Much love from Jamaica, excuse me, said one Dan, right back at you, pal. Craig, do you have any info if Liverpool looked into the African or South African Premier League? They have great talent out there to fill various positions. 100% we will have scouts looking at the South African and at African continent as a whole, buddy. Liverpool will have different scouts working in different regions that will report back to them. Some may be employed directly by the club, some may be just employed on a consultancy type basis, but they will definitely be looking. I mean, at this day and age, football clubs don't leave any stone unturned in their research. John, you have nothing to apologise for, mate. You being with us is more than enough, pal. I hope you continue to enjoy the content. Farball Griff Gaming said 100k is on the way, Craig. Keep up the brilliant work. That frightens the bejesus out of me, if I'm being honest with you. The thoughts of us going from nowhere to potentially 100,000 channel, never thought it would happen. I know you're sick of me saying this stuff and you're sick of me thanking you all, but I mean it. I mean, I'm having so much fun right now on Mundo Sporto, which is our second channel that we've only done 2 streams on, because it's building something new from scratch again. And you remember how challenging it is, which in turn makes me realise how fortunate we are to have you guys supporting us on this channel and have 55k subs. So again, if you haven't subscribed to our second channel, what we do on there is watch-alongs of non-Liverpool games. So the next one that we're going to be covering is Leipzig against PSG in the Champions League next Wednesday. So again, there's a link in the description to subscribe to Mundo Sporto, which I love the name of, by the way, and I love the colour scheme as well. The colour design for it, it's yellow and black. Craig, I've subscribed because I don't know what that's supposed to say, mate. Did you meant to say United or something there, buddy? But look, thank you for subscribing. Rolando, excuse me, Craig, I want to become a member, but I don't see the join button, but I saw it at Liverpool. How do I do it? If you look in the description of the stream, buddy, there will be a link that you can click on to become a member, or you can, John Hamilton there has put in a link there to join and become a member as well. Thank you, John. John, by the way, is the chief moderator on the channel and does a fantastic job, as do the rest of our mods. One love right back at you, Arnaz. I love how friendly and warm you guys are, and it's class. It's one big love in on here at times, and you know what? We need it, don't we? Because there's enough crap going on in the world right now that if we can take an hour out of the day to have a little bit of fun, to just not take ourselves too seriously, sure, what's the harm? People often look at me and go, idiot, sitting at home on his sofa, sitting in his ma's box room. I don't care. That's the thing. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks about me, other than the people who have an interest in what we do. If people want to slag me off, fair enough. People sharing clips on Twitter calling me an idiot. I keep saying to you, all I'll say to these people is, 1, thank you, because you're making us relevant and you're spreading the word about us, whether you like it or not. And 2, whatever's driving you with that bitterness and anger, I sincerely hope that you find happiness and love at some point in your lives, and you don't feel the need to go in that direction. You know me, guys, I'm always trying to be positive until it's match day, in which case all bets are off and I scream abuse at everybody. David Alaba's the best option to sign. He'll be cheap in winter, said HKM 1000. Okay, he is a good option, no doubt about that, mate. How is your son doing today, Craig, said FR77. He's very good, thank you. Thankfully, all's good on the health front there with my son. There was a couple of positive tests in his class, but he's absolutely fine, thankfully, as are the rest of us in the house. I really appreciate you asking. As I have a 16-year-old daughter as well, and she's absolutely fine. I'll be, as frustrated as everybody else that she can't meet up with her mates and stuff like that. West Ham team are good in the air, Craig. That's worrying. It is, and they are. But, we've dealt with Sheffield United as well, who are a very big physical side. We got the 3 points there, so hopefully we can have a repeat of that tomorrow. How do we fix VAR, Craig? I think changing the offside rule to give a true advantage to the offensive player may help. I really want to start celebrating goals again, and that comes in from FUT Tea Time official. It's a very good point, mate, and it is frustrating at times now that even something that in real time you think, oh, there's no way this is going to be ruled out. They go back and you look and you see maybe 2 phases beforehand somebody was offside, and yeah, it's frustrating, and yeah, it ruins the hell out of celebrating goals right now, because even me, I'm kind of known for some of the celebrations, but I'm having to hold back at times where I shouldn't have to and I shouldn't want to. But it is annoying. I do agree. I mean, the letter of the law, offside's being applied correctly as it stands. But you're right, it's frustrating as hell at times, and there should be some margin built in. I don't know how they go about that. I'm not intelligent enough to figure that out. There was the talk of something that maybe Graham Souness said, that if any part of the player's body is onside, then he's onside. But does that then end up with us having the same argument about a stud being on or offside in the opposite way? I think the big problem for us with VAR at the minute is, I think that it's twofold. Firstly, I think the technology isn't quite there with regards to the camera frames per second and the exact timing of a through pass that may lead to somebody being offside, or exactly what moment it's frozen at. And then, of course, we have what is the big problem in the UK, and that's the officials that are behind the technology. So we can talk about the technology, but the technology is being applied far better in other leagues around Europe. And I've said this for a very long time. The standard of officiating in the Premier League is nowhere near good enough for what is the best league in the world. I think Michael Oliver stands head and shoulders above everybody as the best referee in the league. But after that, you've got the likes of Atkinson, who I don't think should be near a Premier League game anymore. You've got John Moss, who I still don't understand how he is a Premier League referee with his current physical conditioning. Now look, who the hell am I to slag anyone about their physical conditioning? But I'm trying to be realistic about this. I don't think he can cover the ground. Now every referee has to pass a fitness test. I've heard reports of some referees who've had to do them 2 and 3 times in the past. But the big problem lies a little bit further up the system. The PGMOL are the people that look after the refereeing side of things in the UK. And that's run by Mike Riley. And Mike Riley is an arsehole, to be quite frank about it. And there are a lot of things that need to be improved for the Premier League. I've always been somebody that loves the idea of a group of referees, I won't say travelling around Europe, but, you know, doing different leagues, different weeks. So a referee from Spain may come and referee a game in the Bundesliga one week and then go referee a game in the Premier League, or maybe do a month in the Premier League, then a month in the Bundesliga, and just rotate around Europe. That would make it easier then for referees and players to know what to expect when you go into European competitions, whether that be Champions League or Europa League. And there's a few more ideas around it, but you don't get any disagreement from me, mate. In the current form in the UK or in the Premier League, VAR is a fucking joke. The fact that it took them an extra season to hang off before implementing VAR, and then they implemented it and instructed referees not to look at the monitors, one of the most important aspects of VAR in my opinion, because refereeing is a very, very difficult job. Make no bones about that. If you have to look at something once and once only in real time, it can be really difficult, particularly if a player's moving at speed and he just gets grazed and he loses his balance. So I have no problems with the referee going and looking at the pitch side monitor. In fact, I would rather it be the referee who goes and does that. So let's use an example. Let's use the example of Fabinho's penalty that he gave away against Sheffield United. So a couple of things about that annoyed me. One, I don't think it was a foul first and foremost. But then you have the conversation around, was he on the line or not? And that's where VAR came in, and VAR said that the challenge did take place on the line of the 18-yard box, which of course means it's inside the 18-yard box. Why Mike Dean wasn't instructed to go over and look at that monitor and make his own mind up about the tackle itself, because he only seen it once. Now, he may be being convinced in his head that it was a foul, but what harm? It's already been checked by VAR. What harm having him go over and have a little look-see, because it was a clean tackle? And that's us. There'll be many, many more incidents. We can talk about Harry Maguire and Azpilicueta. How was that not a penalty? I will never ever know. Nor will any Chelsea fan that might be watching. And any United fans watching, you know that they got away with one there as well. There's so many. I could go on for hours about VAR and refereeing in the Premier League. What's the news on Van Dijk? The news is, Mike, that Virgil van Dijk underwent surgery in London, successful surgery in London, to repair that ACL. David Maddock posted that, kind of reading between the lines, maybe the expectation will be somewhere around 6 months, but with all rehab we'll have to wait and see. But that is the good news. It was a successful operation, and Virgil's road to recovery starts here. No complications, no need to go back in a second time or anything, so hopefully that'll speed up the recovery process. And we know that big Virgil will be working his backside off with the sports science team and the medical department to make sure that he's back as soon as possible, but of course without rushing him and making him come back too early. Foot Tea Time Official, thank you for the super chat, mate. You're very kind. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I can finish up right now, or I can carry on for another 15 minutes if you'd like. Let me know in the chat what you want me to do. I mean, I've gone through all of my notes, so it's just going to be a matter of me answering your questions or having a chat. But give us a thumbs up if you want me to hang on till 9:45, or, you know, give me a thumbs down if you want me to head off. I'm sound either way. I won't take any offence. Let's go, Craig. Do you think VVD will come back better than he was? Well, I don't know, mate. I mean, I have no way I can answer that. I mean, just getting VVD back would be good enough for me, mate. You know what I mean? Even a VVD 80% is still going to be one of the best defenders in the world. Stay on. Cool. You know me. More than happy to stay on, folks. I'll sit here all night. I remember back in the early days of Anfield Agenda, I used to do 2.5, 3 hour streams on a nightly basis, which was fun. I mean, I often look back at building the channel with Connor and the fun that we had along the way. Who remembers the alarm clock, for instance, in the bedroom? My wife had an alarm that used to go off at midnight. And yes, I would still be streaming at midnight because the late night agenda used to start at about 9:30, 10:45. Please someone tell me what happened with Thiago. So Thiago's back training, as is Naby Keita, mate, and is under consideration to start tomorrow's game. Now look, while we're talking about that, let me just switch scenes over here and have a little look ahead to the West Ham game for those coming in late. I've predicted a 2-1 home win, obviously, in this one. And here's my predicted starting 11 for the game, for those that are coming in a little bit late and may not have seen it earlier on. So I've gone with Alisson in goal, obviously. Now, the big question was, who's going to be the centre-back pairing? Trent will be on the right, Rob will be on the left. I've given the nod in my 11 to Reece Williams to play alongside Joe Gomez. I think he's earned the right. I don't see why not. And I also want to see the option of Thiago and Henderson together in midfield, if at all possible. I've been optimistic in my predicted 11 here, and I've gone for Thiago to start. I absolutely understand if he gets maybe a few minutes from the bench, or it could be the route that I've gone. The gaffer might give him an hour and then take him off. So allow me to be optimistic. I've gone for Thiago to play Hendo on the right hand side, where he can tuck in, of course, as well, to give Trent a little bit of help, or he can bomb forward and put in those delicious balls like the one that found Sadio Mane's head against Sheffield United. And then I've gone up front. I've given Diogo Jota the nod ahead of Bobby Firmino, put Mohamed Salah through the centre, and moved Sadio Mane over to what was his preferred position on the right hand side. I'm not saying this is what Klopp is going to go with. I'm not saying people will agree with me about giving Bobby Firmino a rest, but I think Diogo Jota has earned the opportunity. I think that his performances have been fantastic of late. And I think maybe a little break for Bobby will do no harm. But again, I'd love to know what you guys think about that. And let me know in the comment section. Mate, you must become... and what's this? Mate, you just became an internet date after the Villa game. An internet date? I've no idea. I mean, the Villa game was great for us. I mean, don't get me wrong. That clip of me having a bit of a meltdown, yeah, it went everywhere, and it gained us new followers and it gained us new haters, and that's my job, isn't it? My job is to bring new eyes to the channel, mate. And as I said earlier on in the stream, I do not give one shiny shit what anybody thinks about me, other than my wife and my kids and my friends and the subscribers. Outside of that, people can call me whatever the hell they want. Call me a meme, call me anything, call me a fool, do whatever, don't care. Your opinion matters not one jot to me. How old am I? 39. And I will remain 39 forever, because I refuse to turn 40. As I said, when I turn 39 in September, my next birthday will just be a little update, a little refresh of the software, 39.1. Then Craig version 39.2. Never going to hit 40. Never. I refuse. I'm a United fan, but I love your content. Keep it up. Thank you, Kusal. I really appreciate that. There's loads of United fans and opposition fans that drop in. Very similar to how a load of our fans drop in and have a chat with Mark over in the United stand as well. Nothing wrong with it, buddy. We're all football fans. We may have different allegiances to different clubs, but as long as we can all be respectful and have a bit of fun, you're very welcome in. It's great to have you with us. What else have we got? 39.1. Yeah, did you see where I'm coming from though? Do you know what I mean? I thought that was a bit clever now. No more 40. No 40 for Craig. Do I look 39? That's what I want to ask. How old do I look? Now, obviously we're going to have a few ha-ha 60s in there, and fuck you. But how old do I look? Genuinely, how old do I look to you guys? Do I think Thiago's not happy at Liverpool? Why would I think that? Mate, he fought so hard to come to Liverpool. He held off offers from Barcelona. He held off a new contract offer for Bayern Munich. I've no reason to suspect that he isn't. Larv, you're getting banned. 42, how dare you? I'm only joking, by the way. Of course I'm not going to ban you. 29, Rolando's my new best mate. Me and Rolando, we're here, pal. Me and you. 29, there you go. 34. Oh, 34. I mean, I'll take in 34. Coke Classic. Well, first, mate, it's Diet Coke or nothing. You know what I mean? But 47. There's no way I look 47. I mean, I'll give you 42, 43, but no way I look 47. Hamidi said 49. Mate, if I look 49, I'd hate to see what a 49-year-old looks like wherever you're from, because I'm far from looking 49, I can tell you that one. 18, own me best mate. Early 30s, I'll take any of that. Anything less than my age, we're all mates. Anything over that, you're not on the Christmas card list, let's put it that way. Bradley said, great stream on Mundo Sporto the other night. Hashtag plug. I love it, Bradley. Well played, sir. In case you haven't heard, ladies and gents, we do have a second channel that we launched recently called Mundo Sporto. Link in the description, as Bradley has given a little nudge to it. Well played, my friend. Craig, if I say 21, can you say... Okay, 21. Top of the morning to you. Is that what you wanted me to say, buddy? Turl or Larsh, there's a little pig under my arm. And where are my Lucky Charms? Oh, where's my pet leprechaun gone? I think that's where you were going with that one, pal. I look 16. There you go, mate. You know what I mean? I was ID'd a few months back. I was ID'd. You've no idea. And it wasn't in America where everyone gets ID'd. I was ID'd over here, and that made me smile. It was shit when I realised I hadn't got anything on me, but it was still fun. Where am I from? Well, mate, I originate from my mother's womb. That's where I came from originally, and that womb then spat me out of her vajayjay into Dublin. I grew up in Dublin, and now I live in County Wexford, so I suppose Dublin or Wexford, whichever answer you want to take. 59, Rob, how dare you, sir? Where did the name Mundo Sporto come from? We had a blag Twitter account a year, 2 years ago, and we had a reporter that was like our fake ITK, and his name was Manuel Labor, as in manual labour, and we had to have he had to have a company that he worked with, so we said, Manuel Labor, chief reporter for Mundo Sporto. So that didn't exist, obviously. So when we were starting the second channel and we were renaming it, we thought, yeah, let's go with Mundo Sporto. So there's no real meaning to it. It just sounds funny to me. I like the words Mundo and Sporto, so why not? It's just a bit of fun, really. There's no real significance to it. When's Virgil back? Hopefully 6 months, mate, but don't hold me to that one. Is Firmino good enough for the Liverpool team? Absolutely, 100%. The only question is about his goal scoring ability. Everything else Bobby Firmino does is amazing. And look, if he ends up being dropped back into that attacking midfield role, we're going to have to give him time to get used to it, because he's been playing as a 9 or a 9.5 for a long time now. What's these numbers, Dave? Oh, we were just having a little game of how old do I actually look. I have a list of people who are on the naughty list now and people who are on the nice list. Sounds Spanish. Yeah, that's the whole point. We wanted to give it a bit of a European flavour to it. Now that we've covered the defence, do you think Liverpool should get a better sub-keeper? Yes, forever yes, more yeses, double yes. I'm also up for Caoimhín Kelleher being given the opportunity, but I think we will address that in the summer, mate. Why am I bold? I think you probably meant to say bald. And I actually am a bald. This is something I've discussed on the stream before. I don't like having hair. It makes me feel dirty. I know that sounds really, really strange. And I probably do have a bald spot somewhere here at the back of my head. But I could grow a head of hair. I've semi-grown a head of hair a few months back. Maybe a year ago. But yeah, I just don't like... I don't like hair. I just like shaving it. And I don't know. Again, it was just something I did one day a few years ago. And... I don't know, just stuck to it. Whether it suits me or not, I don't know, but I just don't like having hair. It's as simple as that, really. What else have we got? What are your thoughts on Oxlade-Chamberlain? Should Liverpool sell him? If so, should they go for Gravenberch or a name who Craig cannot pronounce, who've been previously linked to? I can understand the frustrations around Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's injuries, and I would like to see him stay a bit more injury free. I mean, I'm stating the obvious here, and no player wants to be injured. There's two ways of looking at this. One, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, when available, is a great option for the manager. He's fantastic around the club by the looks of it. He gives nothing but positivity out there into the world, and I love Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. So for me, I wouldn't sell him. But, you know, I've said that about a few players now. I've said that about Naby Keita, and he's had his fair share of injuries. So maybe something we'll have to give at some point, but I hope not, because I do love Chambo. And when fit, he does give us a different option, a different dimension in that attacking midfield role. I don't like him coming in from the left-hand side, though. You need to get your hair back. No, I don't. My wife likes me bald, and what my wife wants, my wife gets. So, my wife says shave your head. I will shave my head, because that lady has put up with so much shit from me over the years that I will do whatever the hell she says. Call me whipped, call me under the thumb. I'm happy to say it, because I love my wife. She's amazing. And tomorrow, myself and my wife are together 20 years tomorrow. Yes, we got together on Halloween. Now, that's not our wedding anniversary. I got the wedding anniversary right yesterday, but I got the years wrong. We're actually married 13 years. I think I said 7 yesterday. But yeah, we're together 20 years tomorrow. So, and I'm still streaming, and she's still letting me do it. That's why I shave my head when she wants it shaving, ladies and gentlemen, because she allows me to stream. She allows me to come on our 20-year anniversary and do a show and find me a better lady than that. You know what I mean? What more could I ask for? Thoughts on Liverpool this season? It's a bit hard to give those thoughts so far, mate, because we're fairly early into the season, but hopefully the injuries clear up a bit. Congratulations to a load of people. Thank you. It means a lot. It really does mean a lot. Like 20 years. That's more than half of my life now. Yeah, it's mad to think that like I'm with my missus 20 years. I have a 16-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son. It's madness. No man wants to grow up. In our heads, we're all always 12 or 13, something like that. She must have been scared after the Villa game. Rolando, she's seen me much worse than that, mate. I mean, if anything, when the camera's off when I'm watching football, I'm worse. I mean, I probably tone myself down a bit to watch, to do the watch-alongs. If I was watching Liverpool at home with no camera in front of me, I promise you, I'd be twice as bad. So no, she's well used to it. Yeah, she's well used to it. Bald makes you look older. I don't mind. I don't give a shit. I'm married, as I said. Yeah, I'm sound with being bald. I don't know what else to say about it. Do I have any Liverpool tattoos? Yes, I do. So I have a tattoo on my leg that is based off the Owen McVeigh Foundation banner. You know, that wonderful banner where it's the dad and the son walking together with the scarf on. I've a version of that tattoo on my leg, albeit it's me and my son, and there's a pathway made up of the autism jigsaw pieces. And my son's a gingerbread man in this tattoo because he's a little red-haired dude. So it's me and my son walking the road of autism together, and at the end of that then is a liver bird. It's very difficult to explain, much easier to show you sometime, but yeah, I do have a Liverpool tattoo, but it's my own unique one, and I actually reached out to the Owen McVeigh Foundation before I got the tattoo just to run it by them, and they thought it was a good idea, so there you go. Oh, mate, HSN 786, fuck off, mate. We couldn't give a shite if you support United, nor could we give a shite about 20 times, mate. We know who the most successful club in England is. Look it up. It's Liverpool. More trophies. Deal with it. Swallow that bitterness. Go and support your club. But don't come in spamming us with your 20 times nonsense, because we could not give a shit, pal. I promise you, we do not give a shit about your 20 times. We're worrying about us. You worry about United. And let's leave it at that. The lack of inventiveness from these fellas as well when they come in. 20 times United. I've probably forgotten more about Manchester United than these clowns would know about their own club a lot of the time. Meant to say you became an internet star after the Villa game. Mate, I am far from a star. I am a normal dude who does this to reach out to other Reds, to, have a bit of interaction. Whatever happens, however the channel grows, I will never be a star. I am a normal fella. I will always be a normal fella. And I will never think of myself in anything but I'm a fan, and that's it. like everybody else. I've got no special talents. I'm just a normal dude. Why people watch this channel, I don't know. I've said that from day one, but I appreciate each and every person that does. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time we call it a night. What do you reckon? Please hit that subscribe button before you head off. Drop a like on the stream as well. Don't forget, tomorrow, 5 p.m, we'll be live for a watch-along of the Reds game against West Ham. Then we've got the Atalanta game coming up on Tuesday. Mundo Sporto on Wednesday for the Leipzig PSG game. And lots of other bits and pieces as well. We've loads of exciting news coming up that I can't quite tell you about just yet. But if you want the inside scoop on the channel, make sure to become a member. It's $4.99 a month to join Anfield Agenda FC. Link in the description or click the blue join button. And finally, don't forget, download the Flick Chat app from the description. It's completely free to do. We've got polls up on there asking you who you think should partner Gomez at centre-back this weekend. We conduct our man of the match polls and stuff on Flick Chat as well. It's completely free to download. It's completely free to use. It's a great app. Link in the description. Join the other 1,300 people that have come over and joined the Anfield Agenda Flick Chat community. I'll be on there in a few minutes as well. And we're probably going to do a couple of Q&As on there over the next few weeks. So again, please do download that app. Look, love you all. Thank you very much for your support as always. Be well, be safe. Enjoy Halloween tomorrow if I don't speak to you. Hopefully I see you here for the game. Up the Reds.